Sergio Pérez was born on January 26, 1990, in Guadalajara, Mexico, and grew up in a family deeply connected to motorsport. His father, Antonio Pérez Garibay, was instrumental in shaping his passion for racing. Antonio was a former racing driver himself and a significant figure in Mexican motorsport. His involvement in the sport exposed Sergio to racing from an early age and provided the motivation and support necessary for him to pursue a career in motorsport. Antonio's influence went beyond introducing his son to the world of racing. He played an active role in guiding and managing Sergio's early career, including finding sponsorships and ensuring that his son had the opportunities to compete at the highest levels. The Pérez family faced numerous challenges as they sought to make Sergio's racing dreams a reality, particularly in a country like Mexico, where motorsport infrastructure was not as developed as in Europe. However, Antonio's persistence and dedication helped Sergio overcome these hurdles, ensuring that his son had the chance to compete internationally. Sergio's karting career began when he was just 6 years old, and his talent was apparent from the start. He competed in national karting championships in Mexico and dominated the competition. By the time he was 14, Pérez had outgrown the local racing scene, and with his father's backing, he made the bold move to Europe, the epicenter of motorsport, to further his career. This decision was crucial, as competing in Europe meant racing against the best young talents in the world, providing him with the necessary exposure and experience to rise through the ranks. In Europe, Pérez's karting career accelerated, and he quickly adapted to the highly competitive environment. The challenges of living far from home at such a young age, combined with the pressure to perform, helped shape his mental resilience and determination, qualities that would become central to his Formula One career. His karting success in Europe laid the foundation for his transition to single-seaters and ultimately to Formula One. In conclusion, Sergio Pérez's upbringing in Guadalajara, with his father Antonio's deep involvement in motorsport, was pivotal in shaping his passion for racing. His early success in karting in Mexico, followed by his bold move to Europe, laid the groundwork for his ascent to Formula One. His family's support and the sacrifices they made were key to Pérez's ability to overcome obstacles and establish himself as one of the top drivers in the sport. Sergio Pérez's decision to move to Europe as a teenager was a defining moment in his racing career. At just 14 years old, he left his home in Guadalajara, Mexico, to chase his dream of becoming a professional racing driver. This move, encouraged and supported by his father, Antonio Pérez Garibay, exposed Sergio to the highly competitive European motorsport scene, which was essential for his development. Upon arriving in Europe, Pérez faced the challenge of adapting to a new environment, culture, and way of life, all while competing against some of the most talented young drivers in the world. The decision to move at such a young age also meant leaving behind his family, friends, and familiar surroundings, which tested his resilience. Living far from home in an unfamiliar setting forced Pérez to grow quickly, both personally and professionally. Pérez first competed in the Formula BMW Series in Germany in 2005, a championship known for its intense level of competition and as a stepping stone for young drivers aiming to make it to Formula One. His first season was challenging, as he was adjusting to the highly competitive European circuits and racing formats. However, his tenacity and drive began to pay off in his second year, where he finished sixth in the standings and won a race at the Nürburgring. This marked his arrival as a serious talent in European motorsport. His success in Formula BMW set the stage for his move to British Formula 3 in 2007, a critical period in Pérez's development. British F3 was one of the most prestigious junior racing series in the world, having produced numerous future Formula One drivers. In his second year in the national class, Pérez dominated the championship, winning 14 of 21 races and clinching the 2007 British F3 national class title. His performances in F3 proved his ability to handle high-pressure situations and consistently perform at a high level. This success attracted attention from Formula One scouts and teams, further fueling his path to the top tier of motorsport. While Pérez was rapidly progressing on track, he faced numerous challenges off it. Living in Europe, far from home and family, was an isolating experience. Financial constraints were another significant hurdle, as racing in Europe required substantial backing. Throughout this time, his father worked tirelessly to secure sponsorship deals, often facing difficulties in a market where motorsport was not as well-funded or popular as in Europe. Pérez's ability to persevere through these challenges demonstrated his determination and mental toughness, which became vital traits throughout his career. In conclusion, Sergio Pérez's move to Europe as a teenager to compete in Formula BMW and British Formula 3 was instrumental in preparing him for higher levels of competition. His performances in these junior formulas laid the foundation for his rise through the ranks, while the personal challenges of living far from home and navigating financial difficulties shaped his resilience. These experiences prepared him for the pressures and demands of professional motorsport, ultimately leading him to Formula One. Sergio Pérez's time in the GP2 series, particularly during his successful 2010 season with ADAX team, played a critical role in shaping his reputation as a fast, aggressive, and highly skilled driver. GP2, now known as Formula 2, was the premier feeder series to Formula 1, and Pérez's performances there were a clear indication of his potential at the highest level of motorsport. After competing in GP2 in 2009 with Ardent International, where he had a solid but unspectacular season, Pérez moved to ADAX team in 2010. This switch proved to be transformative. Under ADAX, Pérez quickly found his rhythm and began to regularly challenge for podiums and victories, signaling his growth as a driver. Pérez's 2010 GP2 season was particularly impressive due to his aggressive racecraft, which often saw him pull off daring overtakes and manage races with a tactical approach. He secured 5 race victories that year, including standout performances on challenging circuits like Monaco and Silverstone, where tire management and race strategy played significant roles. His ability to balance aggression with intelligence on track became a hallmark of his driving style. This was especially evident in feature races, where tire wear and pit stop strategies were crucial to success. Pérez's ability to adapt to these demands helped him establish a reputation as a driver who could consistently extract the maximum from his car. One of the defining features of Pérez's GP2 success was his confidence in wheel-to-wheel combat. He was not afraid to challenge more experienced drivers, and his fearless overtaking maneuvers set him apart as a driver capable of fighting at the front. His performance in GP2 positioned him as one of the top drivers in the series and underscored his ability to handle the intense pressure of racing at the front of the grid. Pérez finished the 2010 season second in the GP2 standings, behind Pastor Maldonado, but his consistency and ability to compete with the best drivers in the series were clear indicators of his potential for Formula One. His GP2 performances attracted the attention of Sauber, and his aggressive but controlled driving style showed that he could transition into Formula One and immediately be competitive. In conclusion, Pérez's time with ADAX team in the GP2 series was pivotal in shaping his reputation as a fast and aggressive driver capable of fighting for victories. His strong performances in 2010, particularly his racecraft and ability to manage tire wear and race strategies, demonstrated his potential to succeed in Formula One. This season cemented his status as a top talent and opened the door for his debut in Formula One with Sauber in 2011. Sergio Pérez's debut season in Formula One with Sauber in 2011 marked the beginning of his journey in the top tier of motorsport. Although Sauber was a midfield team at the time, Pérez quickly established himself as a driver to watch with a series of mature performances, showcasing his racecraft and tire management skills, traits that would later become his trademarks. Pérez's Formula One debut came at the Australian Grand Prix, where he made an immediate impression by finishing in the points, P7. However, both Sauber cars were disqualified after the race due to a technical infringement concerning the rear wing. Despite this setback, Pérez's performance in Melbourne demonstrated his potential, as he executed a brilliant one-stop strategy while managing his tires far better than many more experienced drivers. One of Pérez's standout moments during his rookie season came at the Monaco Grand Prix, where he suffered a heavy crash during qualifying, which left him briefly hospitalized and forced him to miss the race. His recovery and return to racing were swift, and he continued to show flashes of brilliance throughout the season, even though Sauber struggled with reliability and consistency. In 2012, his second season with Sauber, Pérez truly cemented his reputation with 3 podium finishes in a car that was not expected to challenge for the top spots. These podiums demonstrated not only his growing confidence but also his incredible ability to manage tire wear better than many of his rivals. His first podium came at the Malaysian Grand Prix, where he finished second, narrowly missing out on victory after a strategic duel with Fernando Alonso. Pérez's skill in changing weather conditions and his ability to preserve his tires made the difference, and had it not been for a small mistake late in the race, he might have secured his first win. Pérez's second notable podium came at the Canadian Grand Prix, where he again demonstrated his remarkable tire management skills to finish third, despite starting in 15th position on the grid. His ability to conserve tires while maintaining competitive lap times allowed him to outlast competitors and make up significant ground as the race progressed. His final podium of the 2012 season was at the Italian Grand Prix, where he finished second. Pérez's strategy of starting on hard tires and switching to mediums for the latter part of the race allowed him to charge through the field, overtaking several top drivers, including Fernando Alonso and Kimi Räikkönen. This performance solidified his reputation as a driver capable of delivering in high-pressure situations and maximizing opportunities, even in a less competitive car. In summary, Sergio Pérez's debut season with Sauber laid the groundwork for his future success in Formula One. His standout performances, particularly his tire management and strategic approach, earned him a reputation as a rising star in the sport. His ability to secure podium finishes in a midfield car in 2012, most notably in Malaysia, Canada, and Italy, was a testament to his racercraft and potential, ultimately leading to his move to McLaren in 2013. Sergio Pérez's move to McLaren in 2013 was initially seen as the next big step in his career, especially after his breakout performances with Sauber in 2012. Following his 3 podium finishes and remarkable tire management skills, Pérez was brought into McLaren to replace Lewis Hamilton, who had left for Mercedes. Expectations were high as Pérez was stepping into what was traditionally considered one of the top teams in Formula One, with a strong history of competitiveness and race victories. Many believed that Pérez's arrival at McLaren would allow him to fight for wins consistently and even challenge for the championship. However, the partnership between Pérez and McLaren failed to live up to its promise for several reasons, and the 2013 season turned out to be one of the most challenging periods of his career. McLaren's car for that season, the MP4-28, was not competitive from the outset. The team had chosen to radically redesign the car after their strong 2012 campaign, but the new design was plagued with problems. The car lacked the necessary pace and consistency to challenge for podiums, let alone victories. This left Pérez, along with teammate Jenson Button, fighting in the midfield for most of the season, far from the front where McLaren was accustomed to being. The pressure on Pérez was immense. Not only was he replacing a world champion in Hamilton, but McLaren also had a reputation for delivering results. The lack of performance from the car, combined with the team's high expectations, put Pérez in a difficult position. He struggled to adapt fully to the McLaren setup, and his aggressive driving style often led to on-track incidents and clashes with other drivers. Notably, his battles with Jenson Button, his more experienced teammate, became a focal point of the season. The two drivers had several close and sometimes contentious wheel-to-wheel encounters, which heightened the pressure on Pérez to deliver. Another factor in the failed partnership was the internal dynamics at McLaren. The team was going through a transition period following Hamilton's departure, and there were questions about its strategic direction and leadership. Pérez, who had been brought in as a rising talent, was expected to quickly adapt to this high-pressure environment, but the lack of a competitive car and clear team leadership hampered his ability to shine. By the end of the 2013 season, Pérez's future with McLaren was uncertain. Despite showing flashes of speed, including a fifth-place finish at the Indian Grand Prix, his performances were not consistent enough to convince McLaren to keep him for the long term. The team decided to replace him with Kevin Magnussen for 2014, bringing Pérez's tenure with McLaren to an abrupt end after just one season. While the year at McLaren was difficult, it ultimately shaped Pérez's career moving forward in several important ways. First, it taught him valuable lessons about handling pressure and adapting to challenging environments. The disappointment of losing his seat at a top team could have derailed his career, but Pérez used the experience to refocus and rebuild his confidence. His subsequent move to Force India in 2014 marked the beginning of a resurgence, where he became known for his consistency, tire management, and ability to capitalize on chaotic races. Additionally, the experience at McLaren helped Pérez develop greater maturity as a driver. His aggressive driving style, which had been a liability at times in 2013, became more refined in later years. He learned to balance aggression with patience, which allowed him to become one of the most dependable drivers in the midfield, often outdriving the capabilities of his car. In conclusion, Pérez's difficult year at McLaren in 2013 was a tough but valuable learning experience. While the partnership failed to live up to expectations due to McLaren's uncompetitive car and internal challenges, Pérez emerged from the season with a stronger sense of resilience. The lessons he learned during that challenging year helped him rebuild his career and eventually secure a long-term place in Formula One, culminating in his move to Red Bull Racing in 2021, where he returned to winning ways. Sergio Pérez's move to Force India in 2014 marked the beginning of a resurgence in his Formula One career, following a tough year at McLaren. At Force India, Pérez found a stable environment that allowed him to refine his skills and rebuild his reputation as a reliable and consistent driver. Over his time with the team, which would later become Racing Point, Pérez established himself as one of the best midfield drivers in Formula One, thanks to a combination of racecraft, experience, and a key strength, tire management. Pérez's ability to manage tire degradation became a defining trait of his success at Force India. This skill allowed him to extend his stints in races, enabling strategic advantages, particularly in races where tire wear was a critical factor. Pérez often opted for fewer pit stops than his rivals, which helped him gain track position during long races, especially on circuits where overtaking was difficult. His tire management also allowed him to maintain competitive lap times deep into his stints, even when driving on worn tires. This capability was a significant factor in many of his points finishes and podium results. One of the standout performances during this period came in 2014, when Pérez secured his first podium with Force India at the Bahrain Grand Prix, finishing third. This result highlighted not only his pace but also his strategic approach, as he capitalized on the chaotic nature of the race to secure a podium in a car that wasn't typically capable of challenging the front-runners. It was an early indicator of his ability to maximize opportunities, even when driving a car not expected to fight for podiums. Pérez's consistent points finishes over the years at Force India/Racing Point helped the team remain competitive in the Constructors' Championship, often punching above their weight compared to teams with significantly larger budgets. His tire management skills were especially crucial during the 2016 season, where he secured 2 podium finishes, one at the Monaco Grand Prix and the other at the European Grand Prix in Baku. Both results were earned through a combination of strong racecraft, strategic decisions, and Pérez's ability to maintain tire performance over long stints, often allowing him to undercut or overcut rivals during pit stop phases. The 2016 Monaco Grand Prix was particularly impressive, as Pérez finished third on a circuit where overtaking is notoriously difficult. His strategic brilliance came into play as he managed to undercut rivals through well-timed pit stops, maximizing the performance of his tires and keeping pace with the leaders on a tight and twisty street circuit. In addition to his tire management, Pérez's maturity and racecraft evolved significantly during his years with Force India. He became known for his ability to capitalize on chaotic races where crashes, safety cars, and changing conditions could flip the order. His calm under pressure and knack for avoiding mistakes allowed him to extract the maximum from the car, especially when conditions became unpredictable. By consistently scoring points and outperforming expectations, Pérez established himself as a driver who could consistently deliver strong results in the midfield and contend for podiums when opportunities arose. Throughout his time with Force India/Racing Point, Pérez solidified his reputation as one of the most consistent drivers on the grid, earning praise for his relentless focus, precision, and ability to manage tires better than most of his rivals. This era of his career laid the foundation for his eventual move to Red Bull Racing in 2021, where he became a key figure in the team's push for championship titles. In conclusion, Pérez's resurgence at Force India was characterized by his remarkable consistency and tire management skills. These attributes allowed him to secure podiums in a midfield car and contribute significantly to the team's success in the Constructors' Championship. His time at Force India helped Pérez rebuild his career after the disappointment of McLaren, cementing his reputation as one of the best midfield drivers in Formula One and opening the door for future opportunities with a top team like Red Bull. Sergio Pérez's first Formula One victory at the 2020 Sakhir Grand Prix was one of the most remarkable and emotional wins in recent Formula One history. Racing for Racing Point, formerly Force India, later Aston Martin, Pérez secured victory after a chaotic race, in which he recovered from last place after an early incident. The race started with high drama as Pérez was involved in a first-lap collision. Charles Leclerc made contact with Pérez, causing Pérez to spin and fall to the back of the grid. It appeared that Pérez's race was ruined, but with quick thinking, he pitted under the safety car for a fresh set of tires, which set him up for a long recovery drive. From there, Pérez began to methodically carve his way through the field, showcasing his trademark tire management skills and strategic prowess. As the race progressed, Pérez steadily climbed the order, taking advantage of incidents and mistakes made by other drivers. The defining moment of the race came in the final third when Mercedes, the dominant team of the era, suffered a pit stop error that derailed their drivers' races. This unexpected twist opened the door for Pérez, who was now running in the top positions. With calm composure and consistent pace, Pérez took the lead and held on to secure his first-ever Formula One win. His Racing Point teammate Lance Stroll finished third, making it a double podium for the team. The significance of this win for Pérez's career was immense, especially considering that he was without a contract for the 2021 season at the time. Racing Point had already announced that Sebastian Vettel would replace him for 2021, leaving Pérez's future in Formula One uncertain. This victory, which made him the first Mexican driver to win a Grand Prix since Pedro Rodriguez in 1970, dramatically shifted the narrative around Pérez's career. It underscored his talent, resilience, and ability to deliver in high-pressure situations. This victory also had a profound emotional impact on Pérez. After 10 years in Formula One and 190 race starts, Pérez had finally broken through to take his maiden win. The win was particularly poignant given that Pérez had built a reputation as one of the most consistent drivers on the grid, but had often been overlooked for top-tier opportunities. His ability to recover from a first-lap setback and execute a flawless race strategy reflected his experience and mental toughness. The timing of the win was crucial, as it helped convince Red Bull Racing to sign Pérez for the 2021 season, providing him with the opportunity to race for a championship contending team for the first time in his career. The win demonstrated that Pérez had the speed, racercraft, and strategic acumen to compete at the highest level, leading to his long-awaited promotion to a top team. In summary, Pérez's victory at the 2020 Sakhir Grand Prix was not just a personal triumph, but a defining moment in his career. It highlighted his exceptional ability to recover from adversity, his mastery of racercraft, and the perseverance that had come to define him. The win played a key role in securing his future in Formula One, ultimately leading to his move to Red Bull, where he would become a vital part of their push for championship titles. Sergio Pérez's move to Red Bull Racing in 2021 came at a pivotal moment in his career, following a series of impressive performances with Racing Point, formerly Force India. His consistent ability to extract the maximum from midfield cars, combined with his strategic brilliance and tire management skills, made him a standout driver. However, his career trajectory took a significant turn in 2020 when Racing Point signed Sebastian Vettel for 2021, leaving Pérez without a seat despite delivering strong results, including his remarkable victory at the Sakhir Grand Prix. Red Bull had long struggled to find a suitable teammate for Max Verstappen after the departure of Daniel Ricciardo in 2018. Drivers like Pierre Gasly and Alexander Albon struggled to match Verstappen's pace and perform under the high-pressure environment at Red Bull, particularly in a car designed around Verstappen's aggressive driving style. Pérez, with his vast experience, racecraft, and ability to thrive in unpredictable races, provided a strong alternative. His consistent performances in 2020, including his podium finishes and his first career victory at Sakhir, proved that he was not only quick but also capable of managing high-stress situations. These performances, combined with his adaptability in handling different cars, convinced Red Bull that he could be a reliable and fast teammate to Verstappen. When Pérez joined Red Bull for the 2021 season, the expectations were clear. He was to help the team challenge Mercedes for both the Constructors' and Drivers' Championships. Red Bull needed a strong second driver who could regularly score points, provide strategic support to Verstappen, and challenge Mercedes on track. Pérez was brought in with the hope that his experience and racecraft would elevate Red Bull's ability to compete against the dominant Mercedes lineup of Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas. Pérez's adaptation to Red Bull was not without challenges. The car was designed primarily around Verstappen's aggressive driving style, and it took Pérez several races to fully adjust to the RB16's characteristics, particularly its unique aerodynamic setup. Early in the season, Pérez struggled to match Verstappen's pace in qualifying, often starting further down the grid, which made it difficult for him to consistently support the team's race strategies. However, as the season progressed, Pérez gradually adapted, learning how to maximize the car's performance while refining his racecraft in a top-tier team. One of Pérez's key strengths, which he carried over from Racing Point, was his exceptional tire management. This skill became an asset for Red Bull in several key races, allowing Pérez to extend tire stints and play a crucial role in the team's strategic battles against Mercedes. His performance in the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, where he secured his first win for Red Bull after Verstappen's tire failure, showed that Pérez could deliver under pressure and seize opportunities in chaotic races. Another pivotal moment came at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix in 2021, where Pérez played a critical role in helping Verstappen win his first world championship. In a fierce defensive drive, Pérez managed to hold off Lewis Hamilton for several laps, allowing Verstappen to close the gap during a crucial phase of the race. His efforts earned him praise from both Red Bull and Verstappen, solidifying his position within the team as a key strategic asset. In summary, Pérez's move to Red Bull in 2021 was driven by his consistent performances at Racing Point, particularly his ability to perform in high-pressure situations and his tire management skills. While it took time for him to adapt to Red Bull's unique car dynamics, he eventually found his rhythm and delivered critical performances that supported the team's championship challenge. Pérez's role at Red Bull is a balance between supporting Verstappen and securing strong results for the team, a task he has embraced with maturity and determination. Sergio Pérez's role as Max Verstappen's teammate at Red Bull has been critical to the team's recent success, especially in terms of helping Red Bull reclaim the Constructors' Championship and supporting Verstappen in his Drivers' Championship challenges. As Verstappen's partner, Pérez plays a vital role in Red Bull's twofold objective, maximizing points for the Constructors' Championship and aiding Verstappen in his quest for the title. Balancing his own ambitions while accepting a support role has required patience and teamwork, but Pérez has proven to be a key asset for the team. Pérez's most important contribution has been his ability to secure valuable points in races where Verstappen may not be able to win or where strategic positioning is necessary to fend off competitors, particularly Mercedes. His consistent points finishes and podiums have helped Red Bull remain competitive against rival teams in the Constructors' Championship, ensuring that the team has two cars regularly scoring high. Pérez's strong performance in the 2021 Constructors' Championship was one of the key reasons Red Bull could push Mercedes, even though they narrowly missed the title that year. His efforts in securing podiums or finishing high in races when Verstappen wasn't on top have helped to create a buffer that ensures Red Bull maximizes its points haul every weekend. One of the clearest examples of Perez's vital support role came at the 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, where he played a pivotal part in helping Verstappen secure his first world championship. In that race, Perez defended aggressively against Lewis Hamilton, slowing him down and allowing Verstappen to close the gap. His defense was instrumental in Verstappen staying in contention for the title during the final laps of the race. Perez's work as a rear gunner earned him praise from Verstappen and Red Bull team principal Christian Horner, who acknowledged his selfless contribution to the team's success. In the 2022 season, Perez took on an even more important role as Red Bull aimed to win both the Drivers' and Constructors' Championships. He adapted to the RB18, consistently scoring podiums and winning races, such as his victory in the Monaco Grand Prix. His ability to capitalize on strategic opportunities while defending against competitors has allowed Verstappen to race more freely at the front, knowing that Perez is providing vital backup in both defensive and offensive scenarios. However, Perez has had to balance his personal ambitions with the reality of being in a supporting role. As a competitive driver, Perez has aspirations of fighting for race wins and potentially a championship. His victory in Azerbaijan in 2021 and his strong performances in 2022 have shown that he can compete at the highest level. But in a team built around Verstappen, Perez's role often shifts toward ensuring Red Bull's overall strategy succeeds. This requires Perez to prioritize team objectives over individual goals, especially when team orders are given to protect Verstappen's lead or help maximize the team's points. Despite this, Perez has shown remarkable professionalism and maturity. He understands the importance of team dynamics and recognizes that his position at Red Bull gives him opportunities to win races and contribute to a championship-winning team, even if it means taking a secondary role. His public support for Verstappen and Red Bull's strategy has helped maintain harmony within the team, avoiding internal conflict that could disrupt their campaign. In conclusion, Sergio Pérez's role as Verstappen's teammate has been pivotal to Red Bull's success, particularly in helping the team fight for and win both the Constructors' Championship and supporting Verstappen's title efforts. His contributions have come through consistent performances, strategic defensive driving, and his willingness to adapt to a support role while still maintaining his competitiveness. This balance of personal ambition and team loyalty has made Pérez one of the most valuable teammates in recent Formula One history. Looking ahead, Sergio Pérez has set his sights on continuing his success with Red Bull Racing, but his ultimate goal remains clear: to fight for the Drivers' Championship. After securing multiple race wins with Red Bull, including his emotional first victory at the Sakhir Grand Prix in 2020 and significant wins in Azerbaijan, Monaco, and others, Pérez has proven that he can compete at the top level. However, being in a team structured around Max Verstappen means Pérez has had to balance his own ambitions with a supporting role. For Pérez, the 2023 and 2024 seasons offer potential opportunities to challenge more directly for the championship. With Red Bull consistently delivering one of the best cars on the grid, Pérez will be looking to build on his existing wins and challenge Verstappen, particularly if circumstances allow him to capitalize on any mistakes or misfortune from his teammate. His ability to consistently secure podiums and race wins means that, if he can match Verstappen more consistently over the course of a season, a title challenge isn't out of the question. One of Pérez's key advantages is his experience. Having raced for over a decade in Formula One, he knows how to handle the mental and physical pressures of a long season. His deep understanding of race strategy, particularly his ability to manage tires, makes him one of the most intelligent drivers on the grid. However, to challenge for the championship, Pérez will need to close the gap in qualifying performance and consistently finish ahead of Verstappen, something that has been extremely difficult given Verstappen's dominance. From a broader perspective, Pérez's legacy as one of Mexico's most successful Formula One drivers is already well established. He is the first Mexican driver to win multiple Grand Prix races and has inspired a new generation of Mexican motorsport fans. His journey from humble beginnings in Guadalajara to the top of Formula One is a testament to his resilience, hard work, and talent. His role in Red Bull's recent Constructors' Championships and his contributions to Max Verstappen's title runs have cemented him as a critical figure in Red Bull's modern success. Looking forward, Pérez is likely focused on continuing to win races, helping Red Bull stay competitive at the front, and, if the opportunity arises, mounting his own championship bid. Even if he doesn't secure a title, Pérez's contributions to Formula One and his status as a trailblazer for Mexican motorsport are ensuring that his legacy will be one of the most celebrated in the history of the sport.